one last time. So, this is what I'm guessing Bales is trying to say. We have an operator stack and a variable stack. Parentheses are operators, of course multiplication and minus are operators, and they have different values based on PEMDAS. For the most part, we're going to ignore parentheses and just assume they're the best thing ever, so we don't want to really worry too much about them. But we will worry about things like multiplication, division over addition and subtraction. And of course, exponents, but we're not going to worry too much about that right now. So, we're going to go through here. We're going to add a parenthetical operator here. And then we're going to add 3 to the variables. And then we hit another operator that's not a parentheses. That's important. So we're going to pop the variable list automatically. So we're just going to pop it into the main list. So we've got a 3. Then we go through the operators list. Then we go through the operators list and see if there's anything of higher ordinance, for in this instance something like an exponent. And we won't stop until we hit something of lower or equal ordinance. So in this instance, division or subtraction and addition. There's nothing there, so we don't pop anything and we just add the x. Then we add the 6 to the variables, and then we find a minus. So then we pop the 6, because we always start by popping the variables. And every time we pop, we do a reverse before we pop everything into the new stack. Very important. So every time we pop, before we pop, we reverse the stack and then pop. That'll be more relevant in the next example, I believe. I hope. And x is of higher ordinance, so we pop it. Or multiplication, my bad. So we pop it out, and then we hit a parentheses, so we use a minus. And then we go to 4, and then we hit the close parentheses, so we pop everything left over out until we get to the open parentheses, and we pop the open parentheses, but don't add it. So we start with the numbers, of course, and then we add the operators. I don't know why I keep putting that in the top. And then we pop the parentheses because we don't need it. And I'll draw the arrows since it's confusing. Technically that goes there. And then we just keep going. We have a minus operator, nothing to pop. And then we have a 6, and we've hit the end, so we just pop everything, starting with that and going to that. And we popped both of those. So this looks a little weird. So we might want to test it out. So to do that, I'm going to rewrite this in normal, like left to right, instead of up and down. 4 minus 6. And this is how we would normally do it. We would go 18 minus 4, which is not 22, it's 14, and then minus 6, which is 8. Yes. Okay. And then in this notation, we start from the middle. So the middle for us, or we start from the leftmost number and the, nope, sorry, other way around. We start from the rightmost number and the leftmost, this operator. But the number to the left of the rightmost number is 4 minus 3, 6, and then we have to start with this, but then we have to start with this because this isn't just one number. So we do 3 times 6, which is 18, and now we have 4 minus, god damn it, so 18 4 minus, which is 18 minus 4, which is 14, 6 minus, which is 14 minus 6, which is 8. So that's correct. I have a second example here. This one's a little bit more complicated. I've put variable names and even exponents, which is a little intimidating, but it still works out. No, I don't know how to tell if something's negative or a minus. So, yeah, just throw that to the wind. Just pretend that this is one solid number and we can tell that. Sorry. And as you can see up here, for when we go through it, x and y are equal to 1, but for the sake of argument, we're going to have them be x and y. So, we do the same thing as we did last time. We go through parentheses, x plus. I put the x in the wrong spot, one sec. X, so we want to add the plus, so we immediately pop the x. I've mislabeled so much here. So we immediately pop the x, then we start popping the operators, and there's none there, so we just add the plus. Then we do the y, and then we hit a closed parentheses, so we start popping. We pop the variables first and reverse. We reverse the stack, and then pop the variables, which I might need to prove that that's what we need to do, because I don't think I have a good example of that. And then we add the pop the operators, and then pop the parentheses for poops and giggles. Okay, then we add the minus, and then the two open parentheses, skipping ahead a little bit, and then we add 3 here, and then we get a, what is that called? Chevron, which is to the power of in math. And that is an operator. So before we add it, we pop the 3 down, and then check to see if anything's lower. We hit a parentheses immediately, so we just add the chevron. Although pretty much with exponents, it's just always going to be added, because nothing is lower than nothing is lower than the chevron, or higher, depending on how you phrase that. Then we add the -1, then we hit this, so we go back through the parentheses. First of all, dropping the numbers, then adding the chevron, and I've given up on the errors. And then now we go back through and we do star, and we pop nothing, and we pop nothing here, so we just, I know how to draw a star. There we go. So we just add the star, and then we add the 6, and then we hit this, so we go back through, we add the 6 first, then we add the star, then we pop both parentheses, then we add the minus. And this will notate the same way. So the answer, assuming x and y are 1, the answer to this should be 0. Take my word for it, or do it yourself. So we start with the rightmost number and its closest operator, or the leftmost operator. But we see that this number hasn't been operated yet. Yeah. But we see that this number hasn't been operated yet, so we operate it first. So we get 1/3, 6, and then we get a mental stroke. 2 minus, but yeah, minus is there, and then we need to operate this before because we need 2 numbers here, so we do 2 minus, and that of course is 0. Okay, so this is one last thing where there's actually more than one operator in the stack at a time. So in this version, we're not going to use a stack for the numbers, because you don't have to, and if you did, you'd have to reverse the numbers when you added it, because stacks are funny. Stacks suck, yeah. So we add the 3 to the final, then we add the plus. We don't have to pop any of the other operators because there aren't any in there. Then we add the 6. Then we add the x, and because the plus is lower, we don't pop the plus, so we just add the x, and then we add the 4. And then the way the stack works is it takes the last number, or the last part, or the top, and drops it in. So if you thought of this stack like this, it would take the top and add that first, and then it would take the new top, because when you pop it, it deletes it and then lets you, and returns it so you can move it effectively. And then it pops the next one, or in this case the only one, and plus. No, that's right, plus. So this is 6 times 4 plus 3, which is the same thing as this, 6 times 4 plus 3, PEMDAS wise.